Right now, though.
Oh, there you go. We're live, baby.
Welcome into Pin It Deep, huh? Look at this, Miles. Look at this.
I thought we're in Hollywood.
If I could put a song, now we're not allowed to, but if I could put a song in the background right now, it'd be Fancy by Drake right now. Look at us.
Fancy by Drake. I'd want the Time Warner's cable like sound intro to the movies.
Or the start to the CBS Game of the Day. What a intro. Hey, welcome in to Pin It Deep. This is Max Duffy, your host. We've got Miles Butler and, well, Miles, we've got a very different looking Brent Wainscott this week. Let's give the update very quickly before we give the intro to the great man himself, who's chucking a blue ribbon down, which I respect. Look, talking to the people at B, the gods above, and the king of KSR, we decided this needs to be done a little bit better. We need to jump on the YouTube page like everyone else. We need to start getting out to the masses and do it how it's supposed to be done. We've been given a lot of feedback, and we need to be a lot better at this, Miles. So we're live, and unfortunately, maybe fortunately for some, I'm not sure which side of the fence you're on. No more Brett Wainscott.
No more. No longer. Gone.
We love Brent. And he always did his best. So we always love to I'll give him a shout out. There won't be too much shit put on him today. So look, Brent, thanks for helping us out for all that time. But bigger and better things, Miles, huh?
I miss seeing his Packers gear though. That's the main thing right now.
Yeah.
He'd usually come in with the big hoodie or the pullover. He'd be moaning about Aaron Rodgers again this year. It eventually was getting a little old, but that's what we'd see every week. I do miss his Miles.
And also, just to, maybe a positive is we got the link sent at the right time. We're starting right on time. Everything's ready to go. We've got the little Pin It Deep banner down the bottom. Everything's working beautifully. So thank you very much to Steve, who's helping us out. Now, without further ado, Miles, probably the greatest punt returner in the history of UK football. Probably, I don't know, Sawyer Smith's up there. Probably top 2 best looking men of all time that's ever walked into the UK football facility. Actually, top 3 if you include coaches, but we'll go top 2 of players. Charles Walker, welcome to Pin It Deep.
Guys, thank you for having me. Love to be here. Funny enough, I will actually be in Lambeau Field this weekend, bring up the Packers, so I will take place of Brent or Brett or whatever we're calling him. Now I'll be a Packers fan.
Hey, I love that. That's actually good that you're doing that. Hey, and live from a bar too is perfect for Pin It Deep as well. This is exactly what we expected.
Okay, and here's what I'm saying. If this is too loud, just let me know. I will walk outside.
You're fine.
Be brutally honest.
Steve's got it covered as well. Look, we're hoping, everyone watching, we're hoping to bring you a little special guest. He's in the doctors at the moment, and he's getting the knee iced. But we're hoping we can bring him in, Miles. He's just sending me a text now trying to work out if we are to get in. We're trying to get Colin Goodfellow on. If he gets out of this knee consultancy in time, we'll be talking to Colin Goodfellow. How about that?
I'm excited to talk to Colin. I'm glad that he's actually out of the stretcher, out of the hospital. It sounds like he's doing a bit better than he was on Saturday, but I'd love to hear from him today.
Yeah, and we didn't have to Venmo him like everyone else in the country. So just doing it for free, which is good of him. Now, Miles, we missed out on our Missouri recap with all the things that were going on. Lots of back and forth that was happening during the week. So let's not keep too long on this. But I would like to do 5 minutes. My first thing is, what was going on with Mark Stoops just yelling for the sake of yelling? Maybe one of the weirdest things. Now, he loves to yell, but normally when he's yelling at things, he is yelling for a reason. There was no reason for him to yell on Saturday. We got what was it? We stopped him on.
No, it was the punt fake not fake, but the drop snap on the punt.
Yes.
Which he tried to run. He tried to pull a U. Did not get there, unlike you. Got him stopped short for a turnover on downs, and then he was, for some reason, angry that we stopped him. Maybe you want to just keep playing defense.
I don't understand how you just – I don't know. Maybe he was yelling and saying, look, They just messed up their punt. When we mess our punt a little bit later in the day, you better be calling that targeted. You better be calling it. Because I don't know what he was yelling at. Chuck, did you see this? Or were
I
you
didn't
too
see
busy
it.
at Breeders' Cup?
I was following via ESPN app on Breeders' Cup, trying to put together the world's best pick five, and every time I would try, the very first race would lose. So I was giving. Hopefully, Keeneland and the Breeders' Cup have an NIL deal for Kentucky, because that would be easy money. Because guys like me just keep putting money in and never see a return.
Did you pick any winners?
I did pick a winner, Flightline. That was
Hey.
I actually, I'll tell you what, I hit for a good exacta earlier in the day, paid enough for the Clydesdales, and then hit on Flightline. So
There you go.
it was a
It's a
good
good
day.
day.
It was a good day. But I did. I was following along the scores. I was trying to watch via my YouTube TV app, but no one had service in that place.
I agree. I had a terrible day. I love being there, but I had a terrible day too. Miles, my favorite new tweet though to say during game day. So I was also like Chuck at the Breeders' Cup, but I was managing the tweet a little bit. Just build everyone's statue. Just every time someone does something good, build the statue. Oh, Miles is out. Well, Miles is paused. This is a good start. But no, build the statue is literally the greatest thing of all time. I can't wait to keep saying it. I've built 3 statues so far this year. Stoops, Chris Rodriguez, Brad White. There's been 3 statues being built. I'd love a 4th. Miles,
I got one.
Okay. Go, Chuck.
Carrington Valentine from his interception against, oh God, it wasn't Lafayette. It was the sole cover for UK minus 30. And it was about, with 5 minutes left in the game, boom, Carrington Valentine for that, you get a statue.
I like that. Miles, you cut out. Did you have someone that you'd want to build the statue for?
I'm going to go from the Florida game in 2018, David Bouvier.
Wow.
Yeah, the deep touchdown against them. That's who I want to give a statue to. I actually saw him a few weeks ago at outside Kroger Field tailgating. He's one that definitely deserves a statue.
The only thing I'd be worried about that, though, Miles, is someone's knee would hit Bouvier's head as they walk past that statue if they weren't looking down. Much like you, not very tall in stature, Big Boo.
It's what I'm saying. It's nothing wrong with giving a guy a statue for someone that's a little bit shorter than the rest of us.
Aaron, the bearded Bears fan, if you came in late, yes, Brent is gone. And Chuck Walker over Barry and Brown, I 100% agree. Yes, Chuck, you're already getting lots of love here.
I love it. I will say this: Barry and Brown might deserve a statue.
Miles, here's something for us real quick before we move on and get to the Twitter questions, which we're going to get to. We've got all our favorite content back today. We've got BDW, TW, MDW all coming. We've got our big dogs of the week. They're all coming, our predictions, everything like that. We are going to get to the tweets like we always promised. But here's something that I saw from the game in all seriousness. First 2 plays of the game against Missouri. Trayvon Wallace with, I think, the sack or the tackle for loss, and Keaton Wade exactly the same. First 2 plays. That's a glimpse into the future.
That's Brad White. It's Brad White saying, next man up. You think DeAndre Square. You think we'd be down. No, we're perfectly fine. The defense is here for the future, and those 2 guys look like future.
Let me have a look at our Twitter questions, Miles. I'll get to them right now. Everyone's asking where Colin is as Miles keeps stuffing up. I don't know what's wrong with his Wi-Fi. He probably pays about $5 a month by the looks. He's pausing a very great thing. Keaton, I'll get to Keaton Clefman's very quickly because he's posting on the YouTube video. How did Brent take the news? Brent took it very well. He was very happy to have some time off. He's always way too busy, so he was very happy to have some time off, and he took it very well, so we're very happy with it. Let's start with Brian Frick. Miles, Brian Frick says, are the current UK specialists utilising the services of Kicking MD, and would you give them the friends and family discount? I would give them all the discounts that they want. Me and Grant have offered our services many times. In fact, they've actually been to a few sessions very early in our time when we were doing it. Since then, I wouldn't say a little falling out, but maybe just a lack of communication since we've said once or twice that maybe they haven't been up to standard on this podcast. There hasn't been as much back and forth with the text. But yes, we have offered them our services, and hopefully at some stage they'll take those up. But I'd say they probably need it sometimes this year, Miles. But Colin is fine, and he probably won't be taking them up anytime soon.
The nice thing about your all's camps is, correct me if I'm wrong, don't you offer the first session for free?
Yes.
Yes, which I took advantage of that first session this last weekend. Showed up for a quick run and sweat and punted 2 balls and decided to retire. I thought I could come out and train again, and nah, the leg is done.
Miles went back up to the famous, what was it, 43 yards, Miles, or 40?
Yeah, I had don't shorten it. 43 and a half, maybe.
What you got?
Am I allowed to come to one of these? What's the deal here? What's the age cutoff? Do you have to have previous experience, or what's the deal here? But
we don't want our punters and kickers, practicing their kickoffs and their punts, and then you just returning to the house every time, and then they've got to have some confidence. So we're putting back guys that are less fanatic at it, maybe like our Lynn Bowdens and people like that. They're the ones that we said.
Devin Hester we put back there a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
That checks out.
Chris Leftrick gave us a tough one, Miles. We're not really the super serious podcast, but sometimes we get some serious questions. He's got for us, what's all the uproar about the NIL and the AD going on at the moment?
I would think with your boss, you would be more in tune to that than I am. I think it's pretty straightforward. The guys want money if they're going to play, and the high recruits want more money than the lower recruits. And if we're going to keep competing against the schools that have the high recruits, we need more money to spend on them. I know that sounds common sense and maybe simplistic, but I don't think it's any more complicated than that.
Yeah, and Andy Epstein, hello. We see you are in. As always, shout out Andy Epstein. Hey, Miles. It's very simple, right? Just like you said, if we want to keep some of these guys, we want to keep recruiting at a high level. Now the game is you got to have money. Now that used to be the game as well. Also, it just wasn't talked about. This is the game now, and I think as well. And people have harped on this point, and we even started talking about it a couple of weeks ago. If we want to keep some of these guys that are just being absolutely phenomenal for us in their freshman year this year, guys like Barry Brown, Deion Walker, even Keaton Wade, you got to come up with some money now. Like, they're not sticking around. That transfer whenever they want. There's teams like Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia reloading every single year. And if you want to keep them, then I think they'll have some loyalty to us. I don't think loyalty is completely gone, but the loyalty's also got to come with a little bit of respect. And if you're allowed to pay them, it's like if I worked at a job and I thought I was doing a good job and you guys don't want to pay me, I'm probably going to go to the people that will pay me if you guys don't want to do it. Now, you get first crack at it because you employed me to start off with, but then everyone else gets to come in if I'm being disrespected.
100%. And along with that, not only are you going to lose the players, but as much as we love and joke about him, Stoops is definitely like a top 15 coach in the country right now, somewhere in that range at least. If you don't have the resources to get guys to help compete, he's going to leave as well. Like, why would he stick around if he's unable to get the guys that are going to help him compete against the Georgias, the Tennessees, the Floridas? Like, I know we've been in a slight disadvantage in the past, but this NIL stuff is allowing us to get closer to them. And it doesn't seem like we're closing that gap. If anything, it's going the opposite direction. There's no reason for him to stick around if we don't close that gap soon.
There's a certain college in Alabama at the moment that had a coach that used to do some things with some staff members that were less than desired, and they've got fat. They just got rid of him, and they've got some fat pockets. So, if you're Stoops right now, and this is like, it's like when your parents are divorced, Miles. If you go to mom and mom says, I'm only going to give you $5 to take to school for school lunch, and dad says, I'll give you 25 a day, I'm going and living at dad's. I'm sorry, mom. I love you. And, you're a key, integral part of me being on this earth, but you've just offered me some more money, Chuck.
All right, but what if dad has a pool and a diving board and a hot tub, and mom lives in a trailer park?
Yeah.
Where do you go live there?
Yeah.
And here's what I say. that. Kentucky's campus, Kentucky's facility, it's a $55 million facility. So I understand NIL is a major key in recruiting, but you have to also take into account, yes, coaching staff, facility, campus. And I'm not saying that, again, I sell insurance, and again, money is a very large part of an insurance policy. However, it should not be the number one thing.
Do your sales pitch. No, here's an ad. Here's an ad. Here's an insurance ad from Chuck. Chuck, do your sales pitch.
I won't even say it, but I can sell you a cheap insurance policy that doesn't cover diddly squat.
Where do we go to? What company we talking about?
Well, not for that. For something cost efficient, cost effective, and an unbelievable risk management program, you call the guy from CBI. That being said, let's go back to NIL. It is a very big deal. We are getting on the train late, but not too late. But you got to look at it. We have a $55 million facility. We have a team that's on the up and up, and we have what Miles alluded to, a coach that wants to win, that's hard-nosed, that is a baller, and we have a DC and Brad White that is unbelievable. We are going in the right direction. We're going to need a quarterback next year, but we have the playmakers. Get us a QB, get us an O-line. We're winning the Natty.
I like that. John Collette, that's enough about serious stuff. John Collette says, Miles, over under on 2 missed field goals this week.
Under. I don't think we kick 2.
I don't think we do either. I think, well, okay, over under. I think we have 5 touchdowns. Not that I want to ruin my prediction. Over under missed extra points.
Under. I don't think we missed one this week.
Good. I like that confidence.
Unless you set the under at negative. I say he goes 5 for 5 this week.
Okay. Adam Zimmerman says expectations for Wilson Berry. Would Max or Miles consider coaching the special teams next year? I'm not sure we're getting that call.
I don't think so either.
He's got our numbers, and I'm not sure we're getting that call. Look, Kicking MD would love to be the kicking consultants of the University of Kentucky, and I think we do a great job. I'm just not sure we're getting that call. I'm not even sure it's allowed.
I don't know if Stoops is feeling like a Jeff Saturday type call. That would be the only way that maybe we would get the phone call, but yeah. I would listen to the call if it came, but I don't see my phone ringing anytime soon for that.
And my expectations for Wilson is I think Wilson will do a solid job. He's kind of proven he can, just do the job. It's much like maybe a bit more like Matt Panton style, just do a solid job. So I look forward to actually seeing him get out there. He's been hurt by a lot of injuries. He's had the bad back. He's had the baby now. So maybe, they always talk about Miles having the touchdown after you have the baby. So maybe a little fake punt for Wilson Berry this week for the touchdown.
I've got one, Miles. Is Matt Panton the better Max Duffy, or is Max Duffy the better Max Panton? He was first. I'm not saying first is best, but what's going on?
One's got a good sized trophy that's in his living room. I would say that one is the winner, the one that may have the Ray guy.
And one lives on a and one lives on a vineyard.
There it is.
And one lives on a vineyard in Australia. Hey,
I don't think either's living a bad life currently. I'll put it that way.
That thing. Get that back in. Get that back in.
That thing's pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy, Chuck. I haven't been doing too many weights recently. It's tough to keep up. All right, Miles, here's a real good one for us. Bully's Belly. He always comes up with something good. Who are the top 5 Commodores of all time? He said Lionel Richie would clearly be one, but who else is there? You go.
I actually looked up famous people that went to Vandy for this.
Okay.
The best 2 I could find: Andy Bashir, current governor.
Hey.
Skip Bayless.
Wow.
Skip. The famous wrestler versus Stephen A. Smith. Skip Bayless went to Vandy.
I've got some for you. That's good.
Okay.
Skip, I didn't know that.
Aaron Rodgers' brother. What's the
Jordan Rodgers? Yes, Jordan Rodgers.
There you go.
So I've got a few. James Franklin, Al Gore.
Wow.
The Commodore from Pirates of the Caribbean. He's a famous Commodore.
Jack Sparrow.
And this is my best one, Miles, and you'll appreciate this more than anyone else. Chung Won-shik, the 21st Prime Minister of South Korea.
Wow, went to Vandy? Wow.
How good is that?
That's unbelievable. What about the original Commodore, Vanderbilt himself?
Yeah. Well, he would be the ultimate. He would be the ultimate for sure. But yeah, Chung Wo-sik.
Wow.
How about that?
I'm sure there's a couple baseball players we're not thinking about here. Maybe someone that just won the national or the World Series.
There's probably about a million baseball players. All right, very quick fire one here, Joey Schmidt. If you guys were a pizza topping, which would you be and why?
Banana peppers, because it's better
hot
on
peppers.
everything.
Hot peppers. Yes, Chuck. It's a great topping.
Wow. Well, Chuck would definitely be hot peppers. I think Miles would be banana peppers.
Yeah, fair.
And then I'll go pineapple. I love pineapple on my pizza. Just that little bit of sweetness on top that everyone needs.
And a bit controversial.
This will cover a question that we were going to talk about leading into this game, Miles. So feel free to expand on what you're expecting to see this week against Vanderbilt. G. Sally and Chuck obviously as well. G. Sally says, are you satisfied with the offensive improvements and do you think it will continue to get better?
I mean, I guess if you're saying improvement from Tennessee to Missouri, there was something, but you kind of had to go up from the bottom there. I would hope to see against probably the worst SEC defense a significant improvement this week. I don't think you're seeing a stellar defense against Louisville as well, maybe better than past years, but now obviously you've got Georgia in between, but Vandy and Louisville, I expect to see a much better performance and much more touchdowns than settling for field goals.
Hello, Titanium Titan that just wrote in. Chuck, what about you?
Yeah, I think it starts up front, and that first half against Missouri was almost perfect and almost effortless. Of course, that's not going to happen all game long. I'd like to see Scangarello keep mixing it up, but I'd like to see more shotgun. You have an O-line that has been known to allow some pressure, and when you have a quarterback that's taking three-step drops every down, he just doesn't have enough time to look at his reads and view the field. And when your best player is your quarterback, you got to give him more time.
There's no doubt. Look, I thought we showed at times that we were moving the ball okay against Missouri, and then other times we were kind of going back to just not being able to move it. I think it's on everyone. We talked about this before. I think the O-line definitely started it off, and there's a lack of trust with those guys. I think Will at times hasn't played up to his potential. And then I think the wide receivers at times have been inconsistent, which you can expect from some wide receivers. I didn't like Miles, and you can comment on this, or Chuck, you can comment on this, whichever one wants to go. And I'm just going to give my thoughts on it. I don't want to press on it for too long because we love all the players. But Tavion Robinson after the game liking a bunch of tweets about the offense being terrible and the play calling being terrible and all that kind of stuff. When guys start to check out a little bit and then there's fingers pointing, there's people going against each other, that's when you start to see some issues. That's when you start to see, you need I don't care what, as we say, there's no magic play. There's no magic play. You call the play. Stoops loves it. You call the play. You just need everyone on board. If all 11 are on board and they're doing their job, then the play works. If there's 9 guys doing their job, the play don't work. It's very simple. And so if you've got a couple guys questioning it, and now there's a little bit of lack of trust from the play caller and the personnel, and then the personnel now and the play caller, that's when things start to break down because guys start making their own decisions. They start deciding what they want to do. That's when you've got to have problems. Am I right, Chuck? You've been out there before?
Absolutely. And when it comes from when there's 3 true freshmen playing, or redshirt freshmen, you think it might come from them. But when it comes from your senior that's the transfer, it can definitely be troubling. That being said, you know how emotions get after a big game or after what happened at Tennessee. Then you go to play in an environment that's not what you think it's going to be in Columbia, Missouri. There's no excuse for it, but exactly what you just said. As the leader of that room, as the oldest guy in that room, we expect better.
Miles, we've got one more that I could see, and then we might get to some of these on the little YouTube feed here. Florida Charlie says, honest question, should Vanderbilt be released from the SEC football? They are always completely outmatched and would be more at home in a Southern Conference.
Well, SEC is a Southern Conference, but that's okay. I don't know. I've always said, I understand. I think they're one of the original members. Vandy, with the academic prowess that it is, and it has had some basketball success, it seems to be like it would fit more with ACC of your Duke, UNC's, that. But I'm obviously not in charge of where Vandy goes and where Vandy stays.
Yeah, Vandy is much like us, Miles. You've got your KSRs up the top. I'm not sure that there's any others. And we're just kind of like that show that's trying to get a sponsor from KSR to feed down, and it's just not working. So they're really just the struggling unit that they are. They're going to obviously always be in the SEC. I think there's serious worries for them with Texas and Oklahoma coming in. You couldn't get any lower than what they are. They've been a little bit more competitive this year. Obviously, they started off the season quite well. They did cover their over-under for win total, so great teams do that. But, yeah, I'm worried. I think if I was to give my play or game thoughts this week, I just don't think that they're going to score against us. I saw their offense with their starting quarterback, which became their backup quarterback, and now they're back to him because of an injury, and they could only run the ball. They were kind of doing what works in the Maction or what works in Conference USA or something. A lot of run the ball with the quarterback, not much throwing it around. Let's just try and be bigger than the other team and hope we can run it. We haven't had a lot of push on our D line, but they're not going to be able to push us. So I can't see him scoring points. I think maybe 10 at best. We've shown all throughout the year that we're able to keep teams scoreless or without large scores. I can't see why this will be any different. I think we'll actually put up some points. I mean, most teams have been able to put up a decent amount of points against them. I just don't think that they can score enough to beat us, and I'm very, very confident about this week, and I'm very confident about the 18 points, Miles.
Oh, so we're getting to pregame predictions now?
Not yet.
Well, you kind of just did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident this week, at least in the offense moving the ball. This is the week that if Stoops does have the chance to kind of run the score up a little bit and put some style points on the win, just to kind of hush the fans about the offense, I think this week he'll do it and kind of leave the starters out there for a bit. This is the week that if we want to still have a decent season and beat Louisville handily and win a bowl game, this is your week where you win by 21, 24 points and really show that you're much better than Vandy at home.
Yeah. And look, I'd love to see something in the offense, not just so much for Scangarello's sake or, the wide receiver's sake. For me, it's for Will. I'd love to see him throw the ball around a little bit. I still think that he'll be a very high draft pick, clearly. I mean, they've still got him in the top. I think he's now maybe moved down to second in most people's mock draft QB orders. Clearly, he's very, very talented, and we probably haven't given him the amount of time and confidence that we need to. But still, for a first-round draft pick and maybe the top 2 quarterback on the draft, I still haven't quite seen that game yet from him, Miles. I've seen some great moments, and clearly that's what the NFL is looking at. And I know there's been lots of things going, but I haven't seen that moment I've seen that moment, but I haven't seen that game from him yet where it's like, hey, he's just taken over. And I think an easy kill against Vandy, it'd be great to see us throw it around. He has like 455 touchdowns type of thing, and he finally takes over a game.
No, 100%. And I don't know if the stats would back up what I'm about to say, but it seems like most of the games this year, it's either like what Chuck was saying on the last game, the first drive, we just march right down the field, score a touchdown against Missouri, or it's like 2 sacks, a run, and a punt, and they just never seem – it's either like a really good drive that's constructed well and they're on schedule, or they're completely out of rhythm, and it never seems like the offense gets in a flow of, hey, even if we get 2 first downs this drive and punt it away, at least we're kind of chipping away at them. It seems like Will and the entire offense hasn't really gotten on schedule this year as a whole, and hopefully this game he can do that and get on track.
I'll ask you this question. You've watched a lot of games this year. You've been keeping up to date, and you are the offensive guru here. Would you like to see – my thoughts are I'd like to just see a bit of tempo every now and then. I understand we're running the NFL offense. I get that. But every now and then when we hit them for a shot or when we get a quick little 8 or 9 yard drive going, like when we get them on first down and we get into second and short, can we get a bit of tempo and get moving? Do you think that we could see a bit more of that?
I absolutely agree. And again, it goes back to coaching style, and I think it goes back to trusting your players. And to be quite honest, I'm not sure if we trust the O-line. And Stoops, ever since we've all been there, he's been a game maintainer. He loves to win with his defense. We were spoiled. Last year, you all. We had a young gun and Liam Cohen that was calling creative plays and just was an unbelievable OC. But I agree. Yes, up-tempo is great. That being said, I think the strength of our team is in the defense, and everyone knows that. So when you can slow the game down, control the time of possession, and control the rushing yards. We all were in the team meeting rooms when we used to look at not only special team stats. If you win the turnover game, if you win the hidden yardage game, you win the game. But in an SEC football game, if you have over 250 rushing yards, you're like 80% more likely to win the football game than the other team. So there's stats that show that we shouldn't speed it up. Now,
also, I'll give you another stat, chap, that you would have never paid attention to. You would have already been walking out of the meeting room. But in special teams, if you win the hidden yardage by over 13 yards, you win 87% of games.
I think we've missed out on that this year. And not to hit on the special teams, it's been a sore subject all year long. But I watched it. I was live in Tennessee, and they were starting their offensive possessions on the 40-yard line with one of the most high-powered offenses in the game. And we started ours in the first half on like the 6, the 1, and the 5-yard line.
And the
at
rest,
stadium
the
that
rest are on
holds
the 25.
107,000.
Yeah, the rest are on the 25 after touchdowns. But yeah,
Miles, I want to give you a sore point. Can I give you a very sore, sad point as we interject our little subjects here?
you can do whatever
There
you
was
want.
something that came out on Twitter today, and it ranked the top 50 college combinations of kickers and punters of all time. Me and
We
you
didn't make the 50.
We didn't make the list.
Well, that's on you.
it's
It's
entirely
on you.
Yes, I know.
At some point, you got to carry your weight.
I know, and I'm sorry. I really am sorry for that because you
Who wrote
probably
that?
had us.
We riot. We riot right now.
Yeah, we probably were top 20 with your contribution, but I feel like I just let us down. And I wanted to apologize formally.
How bored was someone to go through and rank 50 combinations of those in history, too? Not even this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can tell you as well, unfortunately, the Colin Goodfellow, Matt Ruffalo haven't quite made the list. But anyways, if you make that list, Miles, you would be a man. If you don't make that list like me and you would be a complete boy. Boys
Absolute
do what they
boys.
want to do. Men do what they have to do. You can't pull the covers up in the morning, Miles. You can't press snooze on the alarm, and you can't just avoid all the rigors of life. I want to shorten it down for you to make it easy. As always, BDW, TW, TD, MD, WT, HTD. I hope that makes it simpler for you, Chuck. We just try and make things easier and shorter on this. I'll do it again. BDW, TW, TD, MD, WT, HTD. You've got it. Boys do what they want to do. Men do what they have to do. Miles, I'll start with you. Who is your boy and man of the week?
Boy of the week, Parks Frasier.
Wow.
Normally, the boys that we comment on, it's a negative connotation. They're doing something poorly. Not this week. Parks Frasier is actually somewhat of a boy, just in age. He's 30 years old, and he has been tasked to be the offensive coordinator of the Colts this week as Jeff Saturday has taken over, which may come up in a minute. He was the assistant to the head coach 2 years ago, quality control, played football at Murray State, briefly has been with the Colts, and he's been getting coffees for a few years, maybe in the quarterback room for a couple of meetings. Now they're like, you're in charge of the entire game plan. You're a young man, barely older than me, probably younger than you. Best of luck to him this week, though, being a boy and maybe on a big stage. We've seen Freddie Adu as a boy. We've seen LeBron James as a boy turn out to be quite the man. Maybe he'll be quite a man down the road, but currently he's a boy with a lot of spotlight this week.
Firstly, I'd just like to say that thank you for adjusting that screen because I wasn't sure what was going on underneath your shoulders for a little while because you had it right up here for a long, long time. It was like I was trying to FaceTime my mom. So thank you for adjusting that for a second. Miles, I looked at his Wikipedia page and here's two things that are very remarkable. You click personal life. This is what comes up. Are we going with Frasier or Frasier? What are we saying?
Frasier.
Frasier. Frasier is married to Caroline Can, a former reporter for the Colts website. The couple were wed by Colts head coach Frank Reich.
Ex-head coach.
Ex-head coach. Actually married by the head coach. Do you think he was just like, hey, coach, he's like, hey, coach, I'm getting married this weekend. Can I just, have the day off? And he's gone, no, you've got study to do. Come in here. I'll do it. I'll be the priest. We'll get you in, out, gone, wedding done.
I'd say at halftime of one of the games, they got it knocked out, done with.
Or here's theory number two. Is that why he got fired? Is he too busy just being the celibate for everyone else?
Maybe that's it. He's too busy.
He's not watching
film.
Is he allowed to do that?
I assume he's an ordained, like anyone can get ordained as a minister, I think, for that stuff. I think you just got to take some classes or something.
I don't want to joke about this too much, but this is absolutely unbelievable too. But we'll be a little bit more serious about this one. Frasier's, this is point number 2 in his personal life. He only got 2 in Wikipedia because he's very young, as you said. Frasier's home was damaged in a shooting in 2019 where 77 rounds were fired into it. No residents were home and no injuries reported. The targeting of Frasier's house was later ruled to be a mistake.
Can you imagine the confusion when he got home, him and his wife? And they were like, sorry, we thought it was like El Chapo at your house living here or something, and we just raided the whole thing. We got the wrong house, though. It was the one next door. But good news, we've cleaned it out for you. No worries.
That's unreal. What a shock that would be to get home to. Also, I have a theory. Andy E thought it was Brent Wainscott's house, and he's just lined it up and lit it up. Chuck, have you got a boy and a man of the week for us? This is your first attempt at it, so it better be good.
This one is great, and guess what? I'm going to change my answer from earlier because I was going off Miles, boy of the week. I'm going to pick someone young and it actually be a good story. No, I'm done. I'm here. I'm at dinner. My boy of the week is Mario Cristobal. Because guess what? You're going to get absolutely smoked by Mike Norvell and Florida State at home, 45-3, and they just paid you $80 million. You're the boy of the week.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. They've been an absolute disgrace so far this year. Like, everyone thought getting Cristobal down there would be the difference. They kind of fired a coach that was going okay for him. Like, he wasn't disgraceful. They were actually coming back a little bit. And, one of the worst performances of all time by the U. Our head coach used to be a part of it when they were up and going. Just shows what happens when you lose Mark Stoops. Who's your man?
My man of the week goes to – this one's crazy. And this one's
Who are we at dinner with, by the way? Can you give us a quick glimpse of who we're at dinner with?
Oh, man. She's not ready for this one. This is my beautiful girlfriend.
Hey.
Wow.
Aloha.
If she was a dude, that would be my man of the week. My man of the week is Elon Musk for everything that's going on. You know, I don't know if it was a good deal, a bad deal, a terrible deal, a worse deal, but Twitter's been pretty off the charts this week. Political and him making everyone pay $8 no matter what, and him commenting on these celebrities currently complaining about the $8 has just brought me joy. So
has he given you the white tick or something? What's going on? You seem very, very happy with him.
I wouldn't pay the $8. I don't need a blue check mark.
I love that. I'm going to give a quick shout out for my man of the week, Miles, before I get into mine. Mine is on this podcast. Chuck, at the drop of the hat, said yes. He's at dinner with I'm assuming probably his girlfriend's family, and still just jumps on the podcast and gets it done, Miles. What an absolute man.
Those two people next to her are not family members. They just wanted to be in, I guess.
They're trying to get in on it. It's not Brent Wainscott, is it? It's not Brent. All right, Miles, here's mine. My boy of the week is to everyone in fantasy football that just, thinks that they're always one step ahead of the game and wants to, make that move that everyone and then tell everyone at the end of the year, that was the move that made me the championship team. We're 2 weeks out from seeing an individual that plays quarterback for a certain team in Ohio being back on the field. People are starting to put him in their fantasy teams. To anyone that put Deshaun Watson in their fantasy team, absolute boys of the week. Good luck in the locker room trying to talk that over with your team. Good luck talking over that with any females in your fantasy league. I don't care. He's not in my team, Miles.
The question with that is
$240 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
The Browns are the boys of the year.
Max, where do you draw the line with that? Because we had this discussion today. I've got Amari Cooper on my team. I have Nick Chubb on my team, who would be catching the ball from him. Are they allowed to be around, or do we just need to absolutely abolish the entire franchise?
Well, Chuck just gave the franchise the boys of the week. I would give the owners the boys of the week, and I would give Deshaun the boys of the week. The guys that have got to play around him, they've got to be the men here. They've got to say to him, look, we don't want to play with you. We don't want to receive, but we'll do what we have to do, Miles. We won't do what we want to do. We'll do what we have to do. We'll still run the ball. We'll still receive your passes, but you're not in my fantasy team.
Of all the people that need to speak to him and man up, Chubb would be number one. Chubb and Deshaun should have a really good chat about just how Chubb lives his life, Deshaun lives his, and maybe, Deshaun can be more of a Chubb than he's been before.
My man of the week, Miles. Everyone sits back on their couch each week and watches the NFL, and they go, I could do that. That would be so easy. I could call these plays. They should hire me. Everyone gives the reason why their favorite team should hire them, particularly if they're going bad. They're like, I should call the plays here. I could call the defensive plays. I could be out there. Why does he make this decision? Why does he do this? This is so stupid. Anyone could see this. Sorry, Chuck.
Did Miles just say Deshaun needs to sit down with a Chubb? Is that what was said?
With Nick Chubb.
Oh, okay. Got it. Sorry.
You got to listen. All right.
Yeah. So, look, everyone says that, Miles, and everyone just always goes, I dream that they would just give me the spot because I bet you I could do it better than anyone else. Well, I never thought it would happen, but the Colts have made it happen. The man of the week this week, Jeff Saturday, out of nowhere, not on the staff, not anything to do with the Colts. All right, you think you can do it better? I love the word from the owner. He's probably got 5 million tweets from this guy, messages, how I could do this, I could do this. All right, double down, do it. Come on, be the head coach. Let's do it. I love it. I think it's one of the greatest. It's like when they make people come out and try and kick field goals when all they do is say, like, I could do that so much better. They come out, they can't get the ball off the ground. It's like people that are like, I could shoot a three-pointer in the NBA. No one actually ever gets to do it. The Colts have made it happen, and I can't wait to see it. Now, I know he's got a bit of history, but it's just, all right, you think you can do it better? Come on then. Man of the week, Jeff Saturday.
Jeff, I was actually listening to an interview today that they had with Dwight Freeney, who used to play Hall of Famer from the Colts, used to play with Jeff. And he said he saw him like less than a week ago, was catching up with him at some event and just, shooting it around. Jeff didn't mention a thing about it, which makes him think Jeff didn't know until like the day of either. Like randomly just got the call and said, hey, how's the wife and kids? Would you like to be the head coach of the Colts going forward? Yes, I would. Yes.
It's like if wow, there's a few interesting comments coming through here on the section, Miles. Free girls in your city. I might have to give that a quick message or a call after this is done. I'm struggling a little bit as of late. Anyways, it's like when Andy E used to write into this podcast each time, Epstein, and say, I could do it better than you guys. It's like we call him on a Sunday with an hour's notice and go, all right, Andy, you do it. But I bet you he would do a great job. So I'm interested to see how Saturday will do.
Would you bet them this week or no?
Yeah, I think so. It's always good, like everyone with a fresh take. And that's why, again, when interim coaches take over, teams have an uncanny knack of like doing really, really well that week. That means really the X's and O's and the whole planning don't, because you can't tell me they are doing the right amount of planning going into that week. It's just a lot about, hey, let's play for the fun of it. Let's enjoy. And this is a serious day. Let's enjoy. Let's just, play a little bit more free, enjoy our time. We got rid of the guy that I guess everyone was kind of against. And you see a lot of teams play better. Again, to my point, there's no perfect call. There's no magic play. You call the play. Everyone's on the same page. Everyone's enjoying themselves, happy, playing hard. That's when things work.
I think there's a high level of, what's the right word, parity, where, you've got your Belichick's, you've got Shanahan, you've got Andy Reid, like these top tier X and O's guys. I think after that top tier, there's a huge section in the middle of guys that are all pretty similar. And that's when it just comes down to which team's motivated, which team's maybe a little bit more ready to go that week. Who's ready to back their coach? It seems like the Colts are going to be backing their coach this week. Jeff Saturday.
We were going to make this guy our ultimate man of the week if he came on, but he just sent me a text and said he's still stuck at the doctor's office. Unfortunately, can't just say, hey, doc, give me a second here. I've got to jump on the podcast, which would be an absolute, not even man of the week, probably king of the week. But, hey, Colin Goodfellow for taking one for the team. And as people keep saying, winning us that game, he's our ultimate man of the week. Could be up for man of the year when we have it, but he just texted me and said he can't come on, but will be on as soon as possible, given his health.
Really good plan by him too. I saw the charity. He's donating all the Venmo to charity. I thought that was a pretty classy move.
Is it the Pin It Deep charity?
No, it is not coming to us. He is not sponsoring us. I think he was going to the Eastern Kentucky Relief Fund or something along those lines. So good move from Colin.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. A man that was asking for more money this year in terms of NIL, Vince Marrow. Probably the biggest influential coach of all time in terms of recruiting in college football. Build his statue, Miles. There's another statue that can be built.
I was going to say one of the biggest men of all time.
One of our favorite segments, Big Dog of the Week. You've got to pick a big dog that's a 10 or more point underdog, and you've got to take a money line. We were dismal last week. I don't want to get into it. We don't get to recap it, but we were disgraceful.
Who was it last week? Who was it? Tell me.
I had a team, I think, that lost by 40.
I took Auburn, who lost in overtime.
Yeah. And Brent probably took the Packers, and they lost the Lions and put up 9 points, which is the worst.
No one took LSU. No one had LSU, huh? I thought you all had it. Okay.
So we'll start with you, Chuck. This is your chance. So we'd like to go 3 from 3 this week. Give the people what they want. There's parlays riding on this everywhere amongst the globe. What have you got for us?
It's tough. And I had about 10 written down. One of them that's intriguing, Utah State at Hawaii. Hawaii is a terrible college football team. That being said, Utah State has to travel all the way to Hawaii. There's a time change, and then they have to play a football game. I think the spread is right at 11.5, so that was going to be my pick.
Well, honorable mention.
That's an honorable mention. I'm an SEC guy. I love Lane Kiffin. Nick Saban's coming off a tough loss.
Yes.
Can the Ole Miss Rebels get it done? Ole Miss
Yes.
at home plus 11.5. I'll money line them.
Wow.
Bama to lose 3 games in a year.
He comes in just like balls out on the table and says, "This is what I've got week 1. I'm going against Nick Saban."
Yeah.
I respect it.
Yeah. Miles, who have you got?
I will not be in Lexington, Kentucky this weekend. Will not. Because I'm in Nashville and I am going to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, where the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders play. Our former long snapper, holder of my balls, and friend Tristan Yeomans coaches the Charlotte 49ers. They are visiting MTSU this weekend as 11-point dogs. I'm going to see him Friday night. I am probably going to the game Saturday if the weather's good. That is my underdog pick of the week after they lost by about 50 last week.
Yeah, lost to the Hilltoppers, did they not? That was actually that was my pick last week, and they lost 59-7.
Yeah, bounce back week.
I love that. And they actually won. They won the week after they fired their coach, Miles.
Yeah, that's a motivated group. Surely they'll bounce back and play well for me this week now that they know that I picked them.
I've got one for you. The Battle of Florida. We've got Florida International. The Panthers play the Florida Atlantic Owls. They both don't have to travel far to play this game, Miles. They should play it at a neutral site in between. They probably should play it in the water. I have got Florida International plus 15.5 over FAU. Florida International started the season as the worst team I've seen in my life. They were getting blown. I think they got beaten by Western Kentucky 77-0 or 73-0. Since then, they've rebounded. They're 4-5 and they're within a bowl game. It is unbelievable. I'm taking one of the greatest resurrections we've seen in about 2022 years, the Florida International Panthers.
I respect that. I haven't watched either team play. I can't imagine it's going to be a very high level of football, but I do like the pick a lot. Hopefully we're 3 for 3.
I love it. Howard Schnellenberger, who actually renowned the University of Louisville's football team, was a coach at FAU, the Florida Atlantic Owls. Fun fact, that is right outside of Delray Beach where my parents live, and I was looking at going there instead of going to the University of Kentucky. Very briefly, my sophomore year of high school.
Great decision. Great decision.
It definitely was.
Yeah. And seeing as your parents own that house down in Florida, Chuck, I'd love to see the money bag that was pulled out just to woo you up to Kentucky.
Not a house. Little condominium. We can go whenever. Maybe the next Bennett team should be down there. When it gets cold here, we go down there.
I am there. You can't deliver on because we will take you up on that. So just to recap that, we've got FIU, Ole Miss, and the Charlotte 49ers with an honorable mention for Hawaii.
Hawaii. They're
on the island.
Now, the real predictions. We've got a game against the most disgraceful SEC team of all time, the Commodores. The Commodores that are famous for Chung Wo-shik, the 21st Prime Minister of South Korea, Miles. I still can't get over the fact that he went to Vanderbilt. That's unbelievable. I was looking through all presidents, prime ministers, things of that nature, senators, chief court justices, whatever. And then it's just 21st Prime Minister of South Korea. That's unbelievable. I'll never get over it.
There was a story back probably 5 years ago. One of the, I forget which prince it was, one of the royal family members was looking at doing grad school at Vandy as well. He did not end up coming, unfortunately. Wow. He would have probably done pretty well in Nashville, don't you think?
Seriously. Prince Harry.
Oh, she knows. She knows which one it is. Yeah, there you go.
That's a great job.
Yeah, she's like, I almost moved to Nashville for him as well, but now I'm with Chuck, so I've decided to go back to Louisville instead.
Hey, we're taking them on the Commodores. I'm going to need you guys' predictions. Chuck, what we do here for predictions, we give a game score as always at the end. We give a player of the game, and we give something to look out for that you think will happen in this game. Not just saying the offense will be better. Give us something a little bit more definitive than that. You may start, and good luck, because you are held to a high account on this show. Do not think you will come back to a Pin It Deep podcast here without accountability. So make sure these are good.
I think the over-under is set right at, it's either 43 or 47. It's going to change my answer. I'm going to say it's set at 47. I say the Cats win 35-10.
Okay.
And I say this is a see, I didn't know I had to give a prediction like this. All right, here's what I'll say. I'll say a special team touchdown.
So you thought
One special team touchdown.
you were going to come on a podcast previewing the Vanderbilt game without having to give any sort of prediction about the game?
No, I knew I was going to give the score, and the Cats cover. I think the under covers. But here's the thing with the offense, I never know who's going to go off. Maybe Tavion Robinson does. Maybe Rich Scangarello has seen Tavion like those picks, like the tweets, and now he wants to feed him for 200 yards. I'll go with that. I'll say Tavion gets his wish, and he goes off for 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Cats win 35-10.
There you go. There's your prediction. Miles?
I'm going to be similar to Chuck. I'm not going to say a special teams touchdown. I don't think we see much special teams this week. Hopefully not many punts. Hopefully just some extra points. I think, like you said earlier, I think the offense has a big week. I think we run it when we want. I think we throw it when we want. I think we take shots when we want. I think we literally, whatever we want to run on them, I think it'll be open this week. This is the week to get the offense in a rhythm and get some confidence back under our belt. I don't think they score much at all because I don't think they've got much of an offense right now, especially with the quarterback and the flu guys out. I'm going to say 38-7 with 1 field goal. Player of the game is Jordan Dingle with 3 touchdowns. 3.
Wow.
The hat trick. The hat trick. Yeah, 3.
He has been impressive this year. He certainly has. Miles.
You almost went there, didn't you, Chuck?
I swear I was
did.
going to say tight end coming out, Jordan Dingle, but that's all right.
Yeah.
My synopsis. As I said before, I don't. Where can we buy the propeller hat that Miles is wearing?
I think it's from Big Ass Fans if you want it. Yeah, we'll give them a shout out.
Look, their starting quarterback that they started at the start of the year, they clearly replaced him for a reason. They didn't look dynamic. They weren't able to throw the ball. They ran the ball very easily on a team like Miami, and they scored. I'm sorry I didn't do my homework. I forget the team that they scored a little bit on in the second week of the season. After that, they didn't. Then they had to bring in a guy. They realized you can't win SEC games if you don't throw it. This is the way forward. It was a good decision by them, but now they're back to square one. They're going to have to try and run the ball on us. I can't see it. I think they have under 80 rushing yards on the ground, which means that their offense is going to be dismal. I think they have under 135 yards of total offense. They might break us for 1, but I very much doubt it. I think we keep them to 3 points, Miles. They've got a good punt game, so I think they'll be okay with that. They'll be happy to rely on him. He's a good punter, but I think we keep him to 3 points. I think you see a little bit more out of our offense. I don't think it's going to be super explosive. I can't see us scoring, 40 like we'd like to, even high 30s. I'm going to go 31-3, 4 touchdowns, 1 field goal. At times, Will's going to look okay, but I just think we're still going to be a little bit stifled. What I want to do in this game and what I would love to see, and my MVP of this game, we have a man that is very, very somewhat close to Benny Snell's record. He needs 147 yards per game in the next 3 regular season games and 1 bowl game. He's our favorite on the show here. We love him. He's the man. I've already asked for the statue of Chris Rodriguez. He is the MVP. I would love for us just to hand him the ball and say, Chris, we think we're going to be able to hold him. So you get as many yards as you can in this game because next week against Georgia, it's going to be tough. He had 7 yards against him last year. I'm giving the ball to Chris every time. I don't care about people saying to throw the ball more. I don't care about Tavion Robinson liking certain tweets. I don't care about Scanger. I don't care, Miles. I just want to win this game, and I want Chris to have 200-plus yards. I'm going to go Chris 225 yards, all 4 of the touchdowns, and he may even kick the field goal. That's how much I want him to do. So
that's one hell of a player prop there.
That is 31-3, Chris Rodriguez every single time. I don't care. Don't give him a break. No days off. Look, Chuck, it's been great. We've been thrilled to have you. We look forward to having you a bit more as the season goes on. Thank you for the late notice call up. We hope to maybe do it in another restaurant. If you want to give the restaurant a shout out, you may. Always plug the insurance. You've got 30 seconds.
I will give Red Hog a shout out. Best spot in Louisville. We had the smoked chicken and the burger. You cannot beat it. I had date night scheduled before. Cannot cancel my beautiful girlfriend. So I appreciate you all putting up with me and the bar music. But it's awesome. Pin it deep. Y'all are the best. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Chuck. Miles, thank you very much. We will see you guys on Sunday at around about 4 p.m. Time to be confirmed, but about 4 p.m. We love doing it on this. Like always, Miles, as I said, I feel very, very fancy on this format. What did you think?
I think this is better than what we've been doing, and I'm not just poking around. I really do. We'll see if it's also nice because we can do this from wherever we want. I can do it with the propeller over my head. You can do it in your living room looking at your Ray guy that you pet like it's a cat or something. It's nice to be comfy in our own homes and be able to do this. So this has been good.
Thank you very much. Go Cats.
Thanks.